With a pause, his father encouraged him to stay the course and don't stop believing. For legendsoffaith.org, I'm Rob Cutter. Growing up in Chicago, John attended a private school with his brothers. Coming from a religious family, his father, a very spiritual man, taught John how to pray at a very young age. John experienced a few misfortunes in his youth. One summer while vacationing, he had his first brush with death. While wading in the lake, he fell into a sinkhole and immediately began sinking. As he fell deeper, panic set in. He struggled to get his head above the water. Still sinking, he was beginning to lose consciousness. Then, out of nowhere, a hand came rocketing down and pulled John out of the water, and his rescuer began CPR. It was just a few years later when John witnessed a horrific fire at his school. 92 of his classmates and 3 nuns died. Shocked by what he saw, he wondered where Jesus was. Traumatized by the tragedy, John's father signed him up for music lessons. His father told him he was saved from that fire because the Lord has music for you, and you're going to be an anointed songwriter and a mover and a shaker in the music industry. John fully embraced his dad's vision for him and would spend the next several decades honing his craft. In the meantime, his faith would be put on a back burner. He had some success when he became part of a popular band that produced a few hit songs on the radio. Despite the success of the band, his father told John that he was meant for something greater. It was shortly thereafter the band called it quits. He hit a rough patch with his finances and had to make that dreaded phone call asking his father for money. In a heartfelt conversation, he asked his dad if he should give up his music dream and move back to Chicago. With a pause, his father encouraged him to stay the course and don't stop believing. Struck with those words, John wrote them down in his lyric book. A few years later, John joined another band, serving as songwriter, keyboardist, and vocalist. When he was working on song ideas, he remembered those words his father said to him years ago. He began writing a melody with his fellow bandmate about a city boy and a small-town girl going on a midnight train somewhere. And the rest, as they say, would be history. John's life would change forever. For the next decade, his band would dominate the airwaves with one hit song after another. His band would go on to play for millions all over the world, and eventually they would be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Despite all his success, he was missing something. He was searching for God. Feeling empty and confused, a light bulb went off. And at that moment, he realized that God was with him the entire time through his incredible journey. He began to refocus on his spiritual life, and then he met his future wife on a plane. Sitting across the aisle from one another, the two talked the entire trip. After finding out that she was a minister, John had all sorts of questions to ask. After listening to her counsel, John reclaimed what he had lost all those years ago, his faith. Today, Jonathan Cain is humbled by his success and how he owes it all to God. When not touring with his band Journey, John leads praise and worship at his wife's church in Florida and writes and records Christian music at his studio in Nashville. He now sees what his dad saw long ago, that even tragedy can be another leg in life's journey to Christ. For more stories like this and for ways to donate, visit us at legendsoffaith.org.